Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you don't already, remember to subscribe down below, give me a thumbs up on any videos you're enjoying, and also follow me on my various social media, which I will link down below. So, we're only a handful of days away from bikes being back on track, with Moto3 heading to Jerez and MotoGP heading to Sepang, and for some reason I have become one of the Bee Gees. Don't ask me why, I don't even know. But unfortunately, you would expect at the start of the MotoGP season for everyone to be really hyped and it to be all sunshine and rainbows. But if you are Camp Honda, it is not the case. They currently only have one rider that's at full physical fitness, and that's Taka Nakagami. Unfortunately for them, the reigning world champion Marc Marquez, Honda newbie Jorge Lorenzo, and also Crutchlow are still nursing injuries. So I decided, because the three of them have sustained various injuries in the past, that I would have a quick look back at the injuries they have amassed, would be the best way of putting, over the years, but also how they have come back for them and what they've managed to do once they've come back. So let's just crack straight on, and we'll go for Taka Nakagami's teammate Crutchlow. So Crutchlow, for the fact that he does crash quite often, he has been really lucky. He has only sustained two big injuries within his actual MotoGP career. His first one came in 2012 at Silverstone during a free practice crash. During the crash, he fractured and dislocated his left ankle. It wasn't picked up on the initial x-ray, but once they realised he was actually in pain, they decided to re-x-ray him and discovered this. Instead of sitting out of the race, Cal did actually go on to go out on track, and he claimed sick that day, which is pretty goddamn impressive, you have to admit, coming from someone that has sprained that ankle before and acted like I needed amputating. So I am slightly a drama queen, but also I do have quite a high pain threshold. Jesus Christ, it hurts. But anyway, his second injury has obviously come in the last season, 2018, in Phillip Island. During the Phillip Island crash, he did manage to break both his right ankle and his tibia. So obviously part of like the bottom of your leg, one of those bones. So that crash was quite a hefty one. He did have to have two surgeries on the leg. The first one was to stabilise it, where they put an external fixator onto the outside of his leg. If you don't know what one of those looks like, it just looks like a cage that goes around your leg, big metal cage, and it's pretty much to keep anything from moving, from twisting. It just keeps it all quite rigid. The only time I've ever really seen one up close and personal was on a cat, which is slightly different. But yeah, if you don't already know this, I am a vet nurse, so the majority of things that I have seen or I can relate back to riders tends to come from the animal world. Or from personal experience, because I am quite a breakable person. But anyway, yeah, so first of all, his first surgery was to have this external fixator placed onto the outside of his leg, and once the swelling went down 6 days later, they went in and tried to sort everything out. He was aiming to come back for Valencia, but that obviously didn't happen, and he ended up having to be replaced for the rest of the season by Stefan Bradl. He is hoping to come back for Sepang, so fingers crossed. I would quite like to see Cal back on track, because I do think he is incredible. Like, I just love Cal, I'm not gonna lie, I love him, and he's great. Such a character. So we'll move on to the reigning world champion, that is Marc Marquez. Marquez, again, is another one that is renowned for crashing, but we also love Marc for the sake of he is just incredible at saving some of the pretty much unsavable, we have to admit. He's hence the baby alien. Anyway, let's crack on. So, Marc's is a little bit more, don't know what happened to my voice there. Marc's is a little bit more checkered. First injury came in 2013 in Catalonia, where he fractured his big toe and also the little finger, the little finger on his right hand. He actually went on to finish in third that day, so you can't really go and say that that had any hindrance to him. Because, well, it's Marc Marquez, he does as he pleases. So he finished in third that day. The next race after, where he will have still been nursing these injuries, he finished in second. You know, when you just lose any adjectives for how ridiculous someone is, that's my feelings towards Marc Marquez. That wasn't the last of his injuries for 2013. At Silverstone, he went on to dislocate his shoulder, which we're now very, very accustomed to. He did that in a warm-up crash, then went on to race, because why not? He finished in second. You can't make this up, can you? You really can't make this up. So Marc's third lot of injuries came in 2014, when the season hadn't even properly got off to a start and he broke his right leg. He ended up missing out on the second half of testing, but also tyre testing. This didn't seem to have any kind of effect, any lasting effect on him, because he went on to win in Qatar, as you do. So you can't keep, if we've learned anything, you can't keep Marc Marquez down, no matter what. You can break him in many different ways and he will just get back up and he will get on a podium near you. So moving on, his next lot of injuries came once again a year later in 2015. He broke one of his fingers on his left hand during a dirt bike accident. That was round about the Jerez weekend. He actually then went on to ride, again, like I told you, like you can't keep a man down. He went on to ride that weekend and came second. I don't really understand how, by the fact that at least Marc Marquez only uses one finger to brake. So, but still, grip. And last but not least, when it comes to Marc Marquez, it wasn't quite an injury, but I put it in anyway. Where San Marino, that qualifying crash where he sprinted back from his crash site to, like, obviously got the scooter, but sprinted through the paddock, got to his second bike, got back out and qualified in fifth. He then went on to finish in second that day. He did have gravel in his eyes, so I'm classing this as an injury. But then we've also got the very well known Scott Redding injury, where Scott did dislocate Marc's shoulder in Japan after he won the title. One thing, alright, I said this to people in Valencia and I got an answer which I get, but it still makes me very curious. How many times has Marc's shoulder come out of its socket that Alex Marquez can now just go pop it back in? How many times? It boggles my mind. I know people that have like injured themselves in horses. I know dancers that have done it before, and they don't know how to do it, or they can do it, but if they're not able to carry on for like a good few hours or a good couple of days, and Marc's just seamlessly just goes, yeah, brushes it off, carries on going, he's fine, or acts fine. It's amazing. But hopefully that will not be happening as much this year, or again this year, after he's had this shoulder surgery, which is the reason he is not at full physical fitness. Oh, my coffee cup's just shed on me. Also, this used to be a dinosaur colour changing cup, and now look what remains. That is part of a Diplodocus. Also, look at my lipstick stains. Beautiful. That's part of a Diplodocus. or Diplodocus, however you say it. But it's part of, and it's highly disappointing and probably needs to shedding. It's great. But anyway, moving on. Last but not least, we have Jorge Lorenzo. I am so hyped to see what Lorenzo can do on the Repsol Honda, and it kind of annoys me. This annoys me. Spinny chairs annoy me. That annoys me. But anyway, back to the... It irritates me that I don't get to see him on the Repsol Honda in Sepang because of this wrist injury. Yeah, so he is actually being replaced by Stefan Bradl for testing this year. Stefan Bradl, who is pretty much Honda's go-to man for injury replacements and whatnot. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. We're going to have to wait until at least Qatar before we can see him on the Honda, which is disappointing, but I guess it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. Fingers crossed. But down to business. Oh Lord, I hadn't realised how many times Lorenzo has injured himself over the years, but mainly in 2008. So, let's get down to business. 2008, China, he was thrown from his bike during free practice where he ended up chipping one of the bones, snapping a ligament in his left ankle, and also fracturing his right ankle. He did actually then go on to race, where he finished 4th, which is pretty bloody impressive, if you ask me. Next up, Le Mans. He had 2 accidents in practice and he managed to come in 2nd in the race. Also pretty impressive. I didn't really find anything about any injuries during that, but he had a lot of crashes in 2008. He had another one in Mugello during the race. He also then had another one in Barcelona during free practice, and then he went on to kind of be a bit more reserved and conservative in his riding in the likes of Donington. Sounds very strange to say MotoGP in Donington when you're quite a newish fan like I am, because I've been watching it since back end of 2015. He was a bit more conservative during Donington and Assen. He then crashed out in Sachsenring due to very wet conditions. It's kind of understandable. I mean, if you saw the likes of Valencia, you saw like everyone went down. Like everyone went down. It was more surfing than riding, if you ask me. But yeah, so he crashed out in Sachsenring. His next real set of injuries came in the US, where he injured his feet, which was actually his 7th crash in 3 months. Pretty high number, but doesn't matter. We got past it. It's 11 years ago. Frightening. But yeah, he had this crash in the US where he high-sided during the first lap of the race, and he injured his right foot and fractured 3 bones in his left foot. Yeah, I mean, Lorenzo's been really, really unlucky when it came to crashes in 2008, but he did manage to salvage a 2nd in Misano and a 3rd in Indianapolis, so the injuries obviously didn't completely and utterly wreck his year. So his next lot of crashes came in 2009 in Laguna Seca. He did crash in qualifying, where he ended up coming away with a small fracture to 4th metatarsal head on his right foot, along with contusions to both his ankle bones and damage to his right collarbone. I don't quite understand how Lorenzo's still up and walking when I see some of the injuries that he's done to his legs, but it does kind of make me very aware of why you never see pictures of, never see footage of him running. It's always him cycling. It makes me very, very understanding of that. I do feel quite sorry for him, because like that is a hefty lot of injuries to your legs and to your lower half. I mean, I do feel for him. Next one was 2010, where he had a pre-season crash and broke 2 bones in his hands. He ended up missing testing in that in that year. His next injury came in 2010 during a pre-season crash. He did end up missing testing because of this, because he broke 2 bones in his hand. But even though he wasn't fully fit, he came back and he claimed a second in Qatar and also went on to take the title that year. So he may have got off to a slightly rocky start by missing testing, which he's doing again this year, but he then took this title. So who knows, he might actually get a bit of history replaying itself. Or we could just have a massive, massive fight with Marquez. Who knows? He then avoided any misery for the rest of 2010, and it was in 2011 in Australia where he took his, where he had his next injury, which, in my view, this would be quite a biggie. But obviously, I'm wrong, because it doesn't seem to have affected him in any way, shape or form. In warm-up in Australia, he crashed and did lose the end of his 4th finger. Thankfully, they were able to save all the tendons and nerves and have it fully functioning. But I didn't realise this. I'm not going to lie to you. I had not realised that he was missing the end of this finger until someone actually brought it up whilst I was on holiday. And I don't know, I've got some morbid like fascination with wanting to see it. However, that's really fucking weird. So yeah, let's move on from me being weird. He's been quite lucky, we'll say, the last 6 years. It wasn't until Aragon, apparently we are now in Lord of the Rings, Aragon, in 2018, where he had that incident with Marc Marquez and ended up breaking his foot. He then obviously tried to come back for Thailand, was cleared to race, and then had that free practice crash where he injured his left wrist, causing him to withdraw from Japan, Australia and Sepang. It's a real shame. Honestly, I hate seeing riders sidelined, but I think he's done pretty good to come back from that. I wasn't going to put in Valencia and see where he came and all that, because literally everyone felt like they crashed. Like, I'm not going to lie, it was the coldest I have been in a long time, and I have been to Silverstone for the F1 and sat in one of the absolute wind tunnels that they call grandstands. It's freezing, but it was so cold and it was so wet. The paddock was just a river, so I wasn't going to include that statistic. But Lorenzo was doing so well, and I need to stop saying so, and oh my god, it's just horrendous. I've said it so many times there. Lorenzo was doing really well in the championship fight. He probably could have given Marc a real good run for his money up until probably quite late in the season, like later than we managed, obviously, because he got sidelined. But things happen. This year is a new year. We get to see them both side by side in the garage, wonder how, take bets on how long before they build a very large, very thick wall between the pair of them. I can't wait. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing to see what they can do, how they'll get along as teammates, if they will get along as teammates, and really just how Honda's going to handle this entire situation. But anyway, that's all I really wanted to do today. I want to have a quick look back at see how Honda has managed and everything, kind of where they have all managed to come in the last few years, with injuries and without injury. Well, with injuries mainly. Marc's just an entire different kettle of fish. When it comes to mindsets between the likes of Marc, Jorge and Cal, Jorge and Cal are far more sensible in my mind. They know that if if they're going to do more damage to their bodies and they know they're not probably going to get these points, in my opinion, they're more likely to just take that little bit of time to just recover more rather than try and push themselves to the absolute limit. I think Marc would just go out. I honestly wholeheartedly believe that Marc could have a leg dangling off and he'd just use it to his advantage and use it in some way, shape or form to like get a better lean angle. I completely believe that he just wouldn't care. Not that he wouldn't care. That he'd do everything in his power to get out there and give it a go. But that's my opinion. But anyway, that's all I wanted to do. That is all I want to say. If you have any suggestions on videos that you want to see, be it MotoGP, Moto2, Moto3, or even F1, I'm going to try and do some more F1 videos. I do have a few videos lined up. I'm waiting for all the liveries to be released for MotoGP and also for the F1 ones to be released, where I will do a nice little like roundup of my worst to best, least favourite to favourite, top 10. That might be the best one because it sounds less horrible. So I'm waiting for them to give me my liveries, and I've also got another couple of videos lined up. But tell me what you want to see down below. I'll try to accommodate, and tell me what you're looking forward to in the coming season. Who do you think's going to win the title? Who do you think is going to win in Qatar? Because I think that's going to be it's always an interesting one, because they all just come out and they're just like, oh, stuff this. We haven't ridden on the bike in so long, we haven't competed in so long, let's just go for it. Who knows? Who knows? Tell me down below. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And also follow me. That is all for now. I shall be back with another video soon enough, unless I forget and life gets in the way, because I am awful. I am terrible. So sorry. But for now, doodles!